So you want to make your Bermuda thicker and at the same time fill in those bare spots. I'm going to show you the steps that I take and the things that I do in order to make that happen.
Keep it simple and just mow.
Now, in order for this to work, you're going to have to achieve these 3 requirements. If you cannot meet at least these 3 basic requirements, you're going to have a harder time getting your Bermuda to fill in and thicken up. Requirement number 1 is time. You're going to have to devote a little bit more time into the lawn. When I say that, I mean just time beyond your mowing time. An example is walking your property. When you walk your turf, you're gonna notice small problems before they become bigger problems. An example is maybe you decide to walk the lawn one day and you see a few weeds popping up. It's much more easier to pull those weeds up by hand as opposed to waiting for it to mature and treating it with chemicals. So that's just one example of devoting a little bit more time into your lawn. Requirement number 2 is sunlight. If your Bermuda is not getting at least the bare minimum amount of sunlight it needs to thrive, any steps you do is not going to work. So typically Bermuda needs about 6, 7, preferably 8 hours of direct sunlight in order for it to thrive. So if your Bermuda lawn cannot meet that basic requirement of getting that bare minimum sunlight, this is not going to work. If you notice you have spots in your lawn where you're barely able to make that minimum threshold of 6, 7 hours of direct sunlight, sometimes all it takes is to reduce the tree canopy, maybe bring it up a little bit, or cut back some branches. Sometimes just little steps like that is going to increase the amount of sunlight you're able to get. If you're dealing with a hard structure like a home or a shed, sometimes it's going to be a little bit difficult to meet that minimum sunlight requirement. And if that's your case, you're probably going to have to think about changing your grass type or something that's a little bit more shade tolerant, maybe a zoysia or something. Requirement number 3 is drainage. If you have a drainage problem on your turf, your Bermuda is going to have a harder time filling in those spots. Bermuda and any other grass types are going to have a hard time thriving when it's always constantly drowning due to water or poor drainage. Key signs that you have a drainage problem is certain areas of your lawn tend to be wet all the time or most of the time, and or maybe you have a certain spot that tends to develop nutsedge year in and year out, or maybe you're having a certain spot of the lawn that has dollar spot consistently year in and year out. Those are a sign of drainage. So if you have a drainage problem, you need to fix it ASAP. Now, if you want to get your Bermuda to thicken up and fill in spots, there's just 2 things I do to make sure that happens. Step number 1 is fertilize. Bermuda is a fertilizer whore. It loves nitrogen. So the more you feed it, the more it's gonna grow and the more it's gonna fill in. Just make sure, I personally like to use slow release fertilizer. And my fertilizer regimen is a light dose of fertilizer once a month, granular form.
And then once every 2 weeks or so, I hit it with a liquid fertilizer. I use Liquid Lawn.
But the key is slow release when it comes to granular, and go light. I like to go light but apply more times as opposed to one heavy application. So make sure you feed your lawn as often as possible. I typically like to avoid any type of quick release fertilizer. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but the problem with quick release is that if you over apply, and in combination of the heat, you're going to increase the chances of burning your lawn. So this is why I like to do slow release fertilizer, but I like to do light coats of it spread out over maybe 3 to 4 weeks. And the other thing I do is mowing. I like to step up my mowing as Bermuda season starts to kick in. And when I say mowing, I mean you gotta mow a little bit more frequently. How frequent really depends on your height of cut and how much you fertilize. But just know, fertilizing and mowing go hand in hand. So the more you fertilize, the more it's gonna grow and the more you're gonna have to mow. So it doesn't matter what type of mower you have, whether you have a real mower or you have a road rotary mower, the key to the mowing is to find that sweet spot. That sweet spot is where you want to avoid scalping as you're mowing, but at the same time cut low enough where you can not scalp the lawn. So that sweet spot is really dependent on how bumpy your turf is, what type of mower you're using. For example, for me, right now I'm mowing at about 0.9 inches, and that's real mowing. But you can achieve the same results mowing higher with a rotary mower. And if I go back to a footage a few years ago, you can see I'm mowing with the Eagle at about 2.5, maybe 3 inches, and it still looked good. So you can achieve the perfect height of cut without worrying about the type of mower you have. It really depends on how bumpy your turf is. You just gotta find that sweet spot. And once you find that sweet spot, the key is to constantly mow where you're not taking off too much of the grass blades. So when you mow, you really want to take off just a little bit, maybe like this much. The rule is 1/3, but honestly, I'm not going to come out here and measure with a ruler. But the key is to really just give it a trim cut. And the more you cut it, the more the Bermuda is going to try to grow. And if you keep cutting it, it's going to grow. You keep cutting, it's going to grow. At some point, it's going to want to spread. It's going to stop, or at least slow down its growing, going up, and it's going to want to spread left and right. So the more you cut, the more the Bermuda is going to spread. And believe it or not, I can't explain it, but every time I cut the Bermuda, it just seems to like it more and more. So cutting frequently is the key. I'm not saying to come out and cut every day. That's really for real mowers. But with a rotary mower, if you come out and cut twice a week, just twice a week, at your minimum height of cut to avoid scalping, you're gonna have a much better result. This is a spot that I dug up in order to install these Rainbird snap and go system. So I dug up all around here, installed the system, and just replaced it back with dirt. But you can see it is starting to fill in. And you can tell because you see the grass is reaching in this way. You can see the grass is kind of reaching in that way. So over time it is going to fill in, but you got to meet those requirements: sunlight, good drainage, and consistently mow. Once it starts to fill in even more, the mowing becomes more important. So let me walk over here and show you an example of what I mean when you fertilize and mow often. Look at the spot right over here. I'll pull a footage from not too long ago, and you can see this spot was bare, and it was bare mainly because I dug it up, installed the drainage pipe, and just waited for it to fill back in. You can see it is pretty much, I want to say 85% filled in. There is a little bit of weeds here and there, but it is starting to come together. I'm not too concerned about the weeds. I am treating the weeds very lightly because I don't want to do too much to it, but you can see it is starting to fill in. And I want to say maybe another 3-4 weeks, but definitely by the end of the season it is going to fill in. But this is just an example how you can get spots to fill in by just lightly fertilizing and stepping up your mowing. There's also 2 extra steps that's definitely going to help you. Number 1 is core aeration. If you have thick clay soil, core aeration is definitely going to help. You're going to want to be able to pull those cores out and basically allow air and water to get into the soil. And even better, if you can put down a little bit of sand after you pull those cores, that's going to help you increase your drainage and at the same time have a more level turf. The other thing that's going to help you is to monitor your irrigation levels. Monitor how much water your lawn is getting, and if you have to provide supplemental irrigation, that's going to go a long way. The key to Bermuda growth is water. Water is life. So you got to make sure your lawn is getting that bare minimum amount of water. There are many devices on the market that will help you monitor how much water is coming down on your lawn. You can get any one of these that's going to work. So you don't need to spend thousands of dollars in order to have your lawn the way you want it. You just really need good mowing practices and feed your lawn constantly. But just remember, the more you feed your lawn, the more you're gonna have to go out and mow. That's key. Mowing is key, and consistency is key. Now, I said nothing about weeds, and while weed control is important, it's key to prevent weeds. So just don't forget, you gotta put out a pre-emergent. at the right time. I made a few videos about this. I'll link one in the description right here. But basically a pre-emergent is going to stop weeds from coming in the first place, so this way you don't have to worry about using any type of post-emergent. And it's really hard to tell you exactly what type of post-emergent to use because you have to identify the weeds and know what you're dealing with. So when it comes to weeds, if you see it, try to treat it, identify it first. Preferably if you can go ahead and pull it, and if it's safe to pull it, go ahead and pull the weeds. That's probably one of the best methods of weed control you can think of. Just come out every day. Again, make that time. It's about 30 minutes to an hour a week. And if you just walk your turf, maybe have a goal. Set a goal of pulling 10 to 15 weeds every time you walk the turf, and in time all those weeds are going to disappear.